This year, we are privileged to have a White Lake alumnus here to address our graduating class. His message is one of believing in yourself and the knowledge that where your life takes you is limitless and hard work is the key to success. Please welcome White Lake alumnus, class of 1976, Andy Witt.
First of all, that song was awesome. Very cool. So, glasses for 56-year-old eyes. So 39 years ago, I was sitting where you are asking myself, how did I actually do this? Graduate, considering my terrible grades. I wasn't valedictorian. My best grades in most classes was a D. I hated home. I wasn't a sports star. I was homecoming king, but that's only because I was the only senior football player at the time. I was more interested in listening to very loud rock and roll music and partying with my friends. I still listen to very hard rock and roll music. It was my choices after high school that took me places I could have never imagined possible back in 1976. Good afternoon, administration, faculty, staff, alumni of White Lake Schools, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen of the community, and the class of 2015. Thank you, Principal Golding, for inviting me to speak at today's ceremony. It is a real honor to be here. Please give another round of applause to the 2015 graduates of White Lake High School. So now it's your turn. As the newest group of White Lake High School alumni, please give all of those who helped you get here today a standing ovation. That's your turn. So, if a guy who graduated from White Lake High School in 1937 was invited to give the commencement speech at my graduation, I'd be sitting there wondering, who is this guy, and what could he possibly say to my class? So I decided to try something unique. I created a Facebook group. I invited over 50 family and friends to join, folks who grew up here, went to school here, to help me write this speech, to give me their input and their critique. We believe, as you said yourself, we believe there are specific benefits of living in a small community and attending a small school like White Lake. Small schools provide every student with opportunities to be involved in whatever activities are available. The majority of students in the larger school don't have that kind of opportunity because there's just not enough open positions. For many generations, White Lake School has provided this unique experience for students to actively engage in school life with the vital support of the community. Given this strong foundation, you, the class of 2015, can do anything. With passion, vision, hard work, you'll realize your hopes and dreams. Anything is possible. Think about who has sat where you are right now. Your brothers, your sisters, aunts and uncles, parents and grandparents. They all have a pretty good idea how you're feeling right now. It's not so easy for you to understand where we are today, many years after graduation, what lessons life has taught us. If you were to start out in Langley on your way to Antidote, there are many ways to get there. Most would take 64 straight west, shortest distance. It's the obvious way. However, some might go north on 55, take a more scenic route. I know a few people who would head straight north of Four Corners, take Elton Fire Lane, just to be different. The journey ahead of you has few direct and clear paths. Ask for direction often. Consider your options, but get on the road and put your pedal to the metal. There will be many detours, construction zones, a few speeding tickets, and possibly an accident or three. Life is an exciting road to travel. Don't always take the short shortest route. Many of us can no longer talk with our grandparents, our parents, those special relatives, some of our very closest friends. These are the most important people in your life. They have, and while still with us, will always give their love and support and guidance if only you ask. We share a connection, your generation and ours. Growing up in this area, what made you, made all of us, and that common experience has helped us all our lives. Today may feel like something special has come to an end, but know your experience in White Lake Schools has given you critical training, strong skills, lifelong friendships, countless memories, and they will be stronger as time passes, regardless of what your grades look like. The sports you played or watched, the plays, homecoming, prom, and those parties that never happened, these were your school years, shared with your classmates. Many of us here today had similar experiences. We might not have had iPhones, laptops, internet, or Facebook, but we have a common bond with you. The summer jobs, like working at farms in the area, going to the movies in Antigo, watching the Packers on Sunday, hunting, ice fishing, and hanging out with your friends at the beach in the summertime. Some things will never change. That's what's wonderful about this place. Most of you will leave the area as I did, but these things will be here when you return. And return you will, for visits or to live here and raise your family. My classmate Julie shared a fitting Chinese proverb: a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your journey will begin when you step off this stage today. Having goals is critical to your personal success, something that will ultimately be defined by you, no one else. Goals will change over the years, and that's okay. Keep making new ones. The choices and decisions you make going forward will affect you for the rest of your life. Your pursuit of happiness begins now. You are the only one responsible for that. You won't be alone. Others will help along the way, but you are in complete control of your destiny. That last part scared me a lot when I graduated. You're in complete control. Many of you will pursue additional education, state university, community college, technical school, or even online classes. Your education never ends. Some of you might join the military. The next time you're at the store here in White Lake, and you're standing at the checkout counter, please pause for a moment, look up and take note of the pictures of the young people from this area who have or are still serving our military. Never forget what Memorial Day is all about. You may not know that a graduate of White Lake High School became a general in the military. I personally want to thank the generations of people who stayed here or returned to White Lake, many working at the mill, raising their families as my parents did. My good friend, the best man at our wedding, Brian, and his wife Annette are great examples of this. My mother was a teacher right here for 35 years. My dad worked at the Sioux Line Railroad. I still hear the railroad sometimes at night, sleeping upstairs at Mom's house. These are the folks that kept White Lake alive, carrying almost 100 years of values and traditions. Graduating from White Lake didn't stop my generation from success. It was, in fact, a huge advantage. My classmate Mike and I attended technical school in Wausau studying electronics. He is a highly successful designer of advanced electronic systems, now a head of design group. Our classmate Julie is a director at a library, a city library, and a highly regarded leader in her community. Mary recently retired from a very successful career in farming. Being a mother is one of her highest measures of success. Vicki and I went to state forensics competition in Madison senior year. She's done very well in her career and now a very proud grandmother. Sandy is a teacher in Antigo, a mother, grandmother, an avid volunteer in support of the White Lake community. My good friend and classmate, Tom, has been at the same company for over 38 years, working in the mines in Minnesota. I think I pronounced it right. Now making plans to retire. Wendy, a mother, grandmother, has a successful daycare business serving her community. Tina is a dedicated ER nurse, also a mother and grandmother. I've got 3 brothers, 2 of them are here. They all have successful careers in the railroad, the family business. These are just a few examples of my generation, graduates from White Lake, enjoying successful and happy lives. Family is my greatest personal success. My wife Brenda and I have been married for 37 years, with 2 children and 4 grandchildren. Whether you measure your success by friendships, family, by educational achievement or business success, by community or military service, they all have a common requirement, a formula for success. I'd like to talk with you now about pie. My mother loves her pie so much, she always eats it ahead of the meal. She eats her pie first. Knowing the type of pie that will satisfy your needs can be a great advantage. I'm going to share with you a different kind of pie, one that can help you be successful, whatever your goal, if only you can develop a taste for it. I'm very thankful that someone told me about this special pie many years ago. PIE is actually an acronym. P is for performance, I is for image, E is for exposure. The 3 stories I'm going to share with you from my career at GTE and Verizon will give examples of each slice of this special pie. My future father-in-law helped me get hired on at the telephone company, at that time, GTE. I was a cable splicer back in 1978, climbing poles and digging holes. That opportunity and that decision had profound impacts on my life and the lives of many I could never have imagined. A couple years later, I moved into the central office, working on switching equipment. That's the things that connect you together when you make a phone call. Many of the older guys, they weren't interested in the new technologies, so the door of opportunity opened. I worked nights for several years, reading technical manuals, going to company schools, learning everything I could about the telephone business and several exciting new technology. My interest in technical things, the reason I went to tech school, started in science class right here at White Lake High School. I want to thank Mr. Johnson for that. It was a time of learning like I've never experienced before. In 1985, we moved our family to Fort Wayne, Indiana. I started working in a data center that was filled with computers and special network equipment. Now back then, these were big computers, about the size of washer and dryers sitting next to each other. GTE was just beginning to use a new network technology called X.25. Interface boxes about the size of a desktop computer were stacked up on these computers like cordwood. An executive came in one day and while walking through the computer room said, "Can't you get rid of all these boxes?" Over the next few months, working days and nights, most weekends, learning everything I could about the computers and that X.25 network, I cannot describe the feeling of accomplishment when I finally developed that solution. All of the boxes were gone, replaced by a single device. This new design became a standard configuration for GTE across the nation. Performance is the most important slice of the pie. When you do a job, any job, whether assigned by others or just that you know it needs to be done, do the very best you can. Something I was told years ago, don't tell people what you can do, show them. Go beyond the expected, outperform, deliver results. Think about the people in your life who always do a great job no matter what. Those are the people that everyone wants by their side during challenges in life. Image is the next ingredient of this special pie. This is not how you dress or how you wear your hair. This is your reputation. Something you should know now, more people will know you by your reputation than will ever know you personally. Oh, by the way, back in 1976, I had very long hair, and I wore bell-bottom blue jeans. I thank my mother every day that she forced me to cut my hair for that graduation picture. In 1989, GTE was consolidating operation, reducing people. My job was moving to Texas. When asked, if I could follow my job, I said, no way. I remember saying something like, I'll never move to Texas. Luckily, I found a job back in Wausau at GTE as a technical support specialist. My new boss hired me because of my work at Fort Wayne, and he gave me the most challenging assignments. When the internet emerged, it was born in the early 90s, very few people understood it. Soon I was giving presentations at schools and libraries and businesses. With a grant from GTE and many local volunteers here in White Lake, we installed the first internet service here at the school about 20 years ago. My image, my reputation was now cast. I was the guy who knew the technical stuff and actually could explain it to others. The more I talked, the more presentations I did, the more invites I received. I learned my public speaking skills right here at White Lake High School, acting in several plays. I want to thank Mrs. Pence for that. This image opened many doors and led to many opportunities during my career. You are the architect of your image. You own it. What others think about you is completely in your control. You want to project what you want other people to see. The image takes years to build and only minutes to destroy. So realize it's in your hands. The last ingredient in this special pie of success is exposure. You can be a high performer with a great image, but if the right people don't know who you are, your ultimate success can be very limited. After the horrific 9/11 terrorist attacks in New York City, Verizon's communication network was a mess in Lower Manhattan. When a call came for volunteers from the former GT areas to help with the recovery, I included my name. There were over 1,200 names on that list, but I was the only one selected to travel to New York during that first week. Many others would go in the following weeks and months. I had only been to New York once before for a job interview. Sadly, I don't remember seeing the Twin Towers before they were destroyed. As I flew in on the corporate jet on a clear Saturday morning, I could see the smoke rising from Ground Zero. I was sent down to work at Verizon's 140 West Street building down in Lower Manhattan, just across the street and just north of Ground Zero. Our building was heavily damaged. Power was just beginning to be restored. Millions of customer and business services were provided through this facility. Most of the employees went home to clean up, get a full night's rest. They'd been working 4 days, pretty much 24/7. I worked Saturday night, walking all 32 floors of the building, opening doors, checking for fires, familiarizing myself with the facility. Opening one door on the 10th floor, there was no external wall. I could see what was left of the Twin Towers smoldering across the street. The floor was covered with dust, papers from the World Trade Center. There was this awful smell. I'll never forget that smell. It was a very solemn moment for me, standing there, thinking about all the folks who lost their lives just a few days earlier. On Sunday morning, I got a call to head over to another Verizon building to help with the recovery of the New York Stock Exchange. When I arrived the day before, I overheard discussions about the X25 problem. I might know something about that. It was one of the last stumbling blocks to restoring the exchange. I told one of the executives I might be able to help. When I walked into the control room, there were many people huddled over a workstation. A young man desperately trying everything he could, others on the conference call, all trying to fix this problem. With specialized test equipment, I could see the X25 network was functioning mostly, but more importantly, I determined that the problem was not at this location, as everyone had believed since the attacks on Tuesday. Computers in this building needed to communicate with specialized network equipment at over 50 different locations in New York City. Reviewing the software installed in the remote equipment, we figured out why the communication failed. The central computers had been offline for several days. A critical program running on all of that remote equipment simply gave up trying to communicate. We sent a technician out to reset one of those remote systems, and communication was restored. The control room exploded with joy. It was something like a 99-yard touchdown pass in the Super Bowl, 1 second left, times 1,000. We were able to finish all of the necessary work by early Monday morning, and the stock market opened for business. That was exposure, with a capital E. To be in the right place, at the right time, with the right knowledge and ability. My pie of success was now fully baked. Less than a year later, I was offered a director position in Texas. This time, I accepted the job. Volunteer. Raise your hand. Get in front of the line. Take risks. Step out of the crowd. Take a swing at those balls. Once in a while, you might hit a home run. I truly believe that growing up in White Lake, graduating from White Lake High School, gave me many of the skills, abilities, and discipline I needed for a very rewarding 35-year career. 2016 will mark the White Lake Centennial, 100 years since the founding of this community. Walk through the White Lake Area Historical Society if you haven't, and know where all of the pioneer families came from. Norway, Germany, Ireland, many other countries. My grandfather was from Sweden. Looking at the graduation picture from the very first graduating class of White Lake High School, you'll see many familiar family names. You are now on a path that started many years ago when immigrants from several countries carved their way into a young White Lake County, making their mark on society with deep-rooted values, hard work, pride, discipline, and honesty. They raise their children to continue on that path, giving each new generation more opportunities than the last. You, the class of the White Lake High School class of 2015, have a responsibility to keep moving forward, to be contributing members of society, and enjoy a successful and happy life. One last important thing I need you to know. It's the hard work that puts you where the good luck can find you. Thank you.